Arriving to the home of the Namekians, Goku, Gohan, and Krillin all see some pretty incredible power-ups. Bulma's there too, but she's mostly just there to help out with technical stuff, like the Dragon Radar, adjusting it to be able to sense Namekian Dragon Balls. It's not terribly difficult, they have similar frequencies, but it is still something that only she could do. And with Goku and the gang there to keep her safe, it should be a pretty fun trip. But not exactly, as the moment they arrive, they're confronted by Frieza Force soldiers, who immediately destroy their ship, the only real way for them off the planet after getting the Dragon Balls. The soldiers would still be dispatched of with relative ease. They were pretty weak in comparison to even Nappa and Vegeta, who have long since been surpassed, but they were still a nuisance. So now, with no way off the planet, they do still go to find the Namekian Dragon Balls. Wishing back their friends is something they absolutely still want to do, and using the aforementioned Namekian radar, they'd be able to find their first few pretty quick. Although before they get to the hunt, they would sense a power out in deep space, getting closer and closer to the planet. This is, of course, Vegeta. Goku, although confident in his own abilities, does understand that they're going to have to be careful lest getting into an altercation that could result in the destruction of the planet. Krillin proposes that they just go and beat Vegeta now. Himself and Gohan could probably do it on their own. But Goku rejects this, stating that the collateral damage from the fight would be too severe, and the Namekians are innocent people. They don't deserve that kind of destruction on their home. So, keeping to themselves for now, the Z-Fighters would go in search of the Dragon Balls using the aforementioned Namekian radar, and they'd be able to find villages containing Dragon Balls pretty easy. Each time, they'd be able to convince the Namekian leaders of said villages to be able to hand over their prized possession, not only because they would be going about it in a docile manner in comparison to what Frieza and Vegeta are doing, but also those two entities being on the planet gives them all the more reason to make allies with the Z-Fighters, even if it does mean handing over the Dragon Balls. Although eventually two of the groups would collide. While the Z-Fighters were setting up camp in a nearby cave to one of the villages, Frieza and his forces would be soaring past. Goku would immediately command that Krillin, Gohan, and Bulma all rush into the cave. However, even though he wants to as well, his body isn't letting him. His body is telling him to move, hide. The power in front of him is far too extreme for him to take on at this moment. However, his body is rejecting it. He wants this fight, he wants that thrill, and to be honest, something deep down is telling him he's obligated to, whether it be because he wants a proper challenge or because he needs to expunge this evil from the universe. Either way, Goku wants to confront this person. So the Saiyan raised on Earth stands tall as Frieza and his army soars past. For a brief moment though, Goku and Frieza would lock eyes. The Emperor believes he had seen a ghost, the one that he had killed so long ago, the Saiyan that was trying to protect his homeworld. It had to have just been his eyes playing tricks on him, but on the off chance there are Saiyans here, whether they came in search of the Dragon Balls or somehow landed on Namek, he is a little wary. Sure, they're no threat to him, but his forces could possibly be taken care of by whatever resistance he finds. And who knows, maybe this is the Super Saiyan. He's always cautious about those sorts of things. So Frieza takes a mental note of this. There could be legendary warriors on this planet, people who could push even him. Although this is extremely unlikely, it is something he has to keep in mind, so he does. And even though it could just be his mind playing tricks on him, there's no way to be too safe. A couple of hours later, Goku and Gohan would be working together to try and find more Dragon Balls, and after peering down on a Namekian village currently being invaded by the Emperor, Goku would want to lash out, even though his mind right now is able to stop him. His body is urging him to begin this fated duel, yet he can't. Not yet. His Saiyan instincts are roaring, more so than ever before thanks to his tail. He still has that connection to his bloodline, but he's able to resist it for the time being. However, Gohan is forced to act by a different part of his mind. Rather than his desire for a challenge, instead he is shoved into action by his ideals of justice. He can't stand seeing innocent people being slaughtered in the dozen, so he rushes down, kicking Dodoria miles away before then grabbing Dende and flying off. Dodoria makes chase, but Goku steps in, blasting him away with a single attack, following Gohan and making sure that his kid is safe, while Zarbon follows close behind through Frieza's orders. Goku would slow down ever so slightly, that way Zarbon can keep pace, doing this repeatedly until Zarbon believes that he is actually catching up to the Saiyan duo. And once Zarbon is close to their coattails, Goku would float down to the ground and store his power-up just a little bit to intimidate one of Frieza's men. Goku wants so badly to fight against someone as powerful and evil as Frieza is, but Zarbon is neither of those things. Not only is he nowhere near as malicious as the Emperor, he's only a fraction of as strong as Frieza's weakest transformation. So Goku, for the time being, has to take on some of these smaller fries. So to get an even slight challenge out of it, he has to remain suppressed. But he is still able to show off a little bit of his power. Zarbon is weak, yes, but not the weakest of Frieza's men. He has a power level around 30,000, so Goku suppresses himself to that much, and the two have a even fight, let's say. Zarbon not knowing just how much Goku is toying with him, but he does believe he has the upper hand after revealing his beastly transformation. Yes, it makes him terribly unattractive, but it should be enough to kill this Saiyan once and for all. But it's not. Goku realizes that he can show off a little more of his power, but only a minuscule amount. To keep it even, he goes up to about 45,000. Yes, strong, but not too strong to alert any of Frieza's forces that might still have scouters, even though none of them do thanks to Elder Mori. And after getting the best challenge he possibly can out of Zarbon, he would power up ever so slightly to around 60,000, enough to eviscerate the alien warrior while still hopefully not setting off any of Frieza's alarms. Speaking of the Emperor, realizing that he not only has no scouters, but none of his strongest men are currently here, most likely dead, he decides to call in his armored squadron, his most elite warriors, the Ginyu Force, not only to get rid of any of the scum getting his way, but also to deliver some new scouters since his were destroyed as I mentioned a moment ago. Before the Ginyus get there though, Goku would have a confrontation with Vegeta. Despite his best efforts to avoid the Saiyan Prince, Goku eventually would slip up, and his gang would make contact with the pride and joy of the Saiyan race. However, little does Vegeta know that Goku has long since surpassed him, with a soaring power level of 270,000 and Kaioken stacked on top if necessary. Vegeta stands absolutely no chance. And thanks to his newfound ability to sense ki, Vegeta can actually tell this. The mere feeling of Goku's energy alone is enough to cause him to shake in his boots. However, this doesn't stop him from still coming in contact with Goku and the gang, knowing that if Frieza is here, he's going to need all the allies he can, even if it's the one that beat him on Earth. He comes to the Z-Fighters with a proposition of peace. He wants a truce, at least long enough for him to get the Dragon Balls, but he doesn't tell them that. He says that there's a power on this planet that far surpasses anything that they've seen before. His name is Frieza. He's a galactic tyrant and the worst of the worst, scum of the universe who needs to be wiped away. And the only way Vegeta can see himself accomplishing this is with the help of the Z-Fighters. Krillin would laugh this off, saying that he's lucky they haven't killed him yet for what he did back on Earth. He killed their friends for God's sakes, it's the only reason they're here. But Goku stops him. Although, yes, what Vegeta did was terrible, they are currently trying to undo that, and if Vegeta helps them with this task, then he will repent, at least in his eyes. Sure, Krillin doesn't have to be his best friend, But it only makes sense to have temporary alliances that could turn into permanent friendships. Just look at Piccolo. Yeah, he wasn't the best guy starting off, but eventually he sacrificed his own life for Gohan's, and that's redemption, at least in my eyes. So, albeit reluctantly, Krillin does agree to be on docile terms with Vegeta. He won't start anything, but he sure as hell will finish it if Vegeta begins acting up. So, the Saiyan Prince obliges and says he'll be on his best behavior, and the inside laughing to himself because, yes, technically Krillin is stronger than him for the moment. The second that he gets immortality, none of the Earthlings will stand a chance. So, with the alliance confirmed, the gang would go in search of the Dragon Balls once more. Goku, Gohan, and Krillin working as a three-man team, eventually finding Guru's house, where they would all have their potentials unlocked. For Krillin, he would just get a boost in strength, and it's pretty much the same for Gohan. But for Goku, he's finally given the ability to tap into the power he's been trying for so long. Now he can finally utilize Ikari. The moment his potential is unleashed, his hair stands up in a Super Saiyan-like fashion, just without the golden effect. His power raises 10 times, and he realizes that this is the power he had while training with King Kai. He was only able to obtain it once then, but he is certain that after this form fades, he'll be able to gain it again in battle. However, he still can't use it at will. He'll need to be pushed, but the circumstances at which he needs to be pushed into to access this form have been drastically lowered. He eventually de-transforms, mostly out of his own choice, because he understands if anybody's watching, that definitely sent off some red flags. But at the same time, he believes now with that power at his disposal, as well as a sizable boost he got just from getting his potential unlocked, he should be able to take on anybody he goes up against, with relative ease even. I'll list off everybody's power level on screen, that way we don't have to go too in-depth with it right away. We can just move on knowing that this is how strong everybody is at the current moment. Got it? Good, let's keep going. As everyone prepares to go off in search of the Dragon Balls yet again, Goku would sense 5 power levels incoming on the planet, telling Gohan and Krillin to stay in Guru's home, being protected by Nail, even though Gohan might actually be stronger than him by this point. Vegeta would have also sensed the Ginyu's arrival, so he goes to the same place Goku did, predicting that this is where the ships will crash. Vegeta informs Goku of who they're going to be going up against, and Goku tells him to head to where he senses Gohan and Krillin's ki. There's this guy there that can unlock their potentials, and if Vegeta gets a sizable power increase, he might actually be able to stand a chance against this Frieza guy. Although a bit of a hurt to his pride, Vegeta's been going through that lately. Even Krillin was stronger than him, so yeah, Vegeta's gonna go take this power up. While he does that though, Goku would be facing off against the Ginyus. All 5 of them working together are powerful, but having already been informed of their hack's abilities, Goku would take out Guldo first, making sure he can't freeze time. Then, for the rest of the gang, it's pretty easy. He just has to avoid Ginyu's body swap technique, which he would probably know about here thanks to Vegeta, although Goku probably also could have avoided his attack in the original, so there's probably some sort of supernatural property to it that would mean that Goku in the original and still here would have his body stolen after Ginyu shouts "change now," damaging his own chest to make sure Goku can't fight back after he changes bodies. But when Vegeta arrives to fight against the Ginyu force, he sees that Ginyu has probably taken over Goku's body. I mean, it's not like Kakarot to be wearing a scouter, he can sense ki. So Vegeta launches into battle. Sure, this might not be Ginyu, but he still gets to fight Goku, so it's a win-win for him either way. And as Ginyu tries to power up to Goku's max power he had seen a moment ago, he can't. He can only access a power level of 60,000. This is not good. After having his potential unleashed, Vegeta would have gone from a power level of 24,000 to around 120,000. We don't know exactly how much the Guru boost is, but it's probably enough to allow Vegeta to reclaim his spot as strongest Saiyan, as long as Ginyu's in Goku's body. And really, the only reason I'm giving Vegeta this 120,000 power level is because he had already sensed Goku's strength in Akari, so his ceiling was much higher than whatever boost he would have gotten without that knowledge. I believe that the hidden potential that Guru is unlocking is whatever strength Vegeta would have gotten after a solid training sesh, so 120,000 seems reasonable given the circumstances. And either way, the prince is still able to dog-walk the captain, and with Ginyu snarling on the ground in the stolen Saiyan vessel, Goku would jump in front of the way as Ginyu was about to steal Vegeta's body. And although the prince is a bit reluctant, he would still put Goku in the healing chamber, only after killing Ginyu though. He decides not to put himself in the same disadvantageous position he did in the anime. Seriously, why were you soaring down in direct eye line to someone who you know can steal bodies by shooting a beam out of his mouth? It's just not a smart move, Vegeta. But whether he's a frog or in his own body, either way, Vegeta still has an easy time disposing of the captain. A single blast is enough no matter what body Ginyu is in currently. And with Goku in the healing pod, Vegeta decides to take a nap before summoning the dragon, since Gohan did still have the last ball hidden from the prince. They might have had an alliance, but they also did in the original. Either way, Gohan didn't feel safe trusting Vegeta with the last thing he could hold over the prince's head. So with these 6 Dragon Balls all collected, most of which were stolen from Frieza by Vegeta, Gohan grabs the last one and they summon Porunga. They need to be quick, as if Vegeta wakes up and sees it's dark outside on a planet with 2 alternating suns, he's going to understand they summon the dragon and be furious. So through Dende, they speak their wishes. The first is to bring back Piccolo. If they bring him back, then they also bring Kami back, and they have the Dragon Balls on Earth. And Piccolo, feeling a strong bond with Namek, despite never having gone there, asks they wish him there. He longs to be on the planet that his original self came from, so they do that as well for their second wish. Although, before they can make their wish, Guru dies, having his heart give out because of the stress that he underwent because of Frieza's intervening of his planet's affairs. Either way, Porunga is gone with Guru, and the Dragon Balls are now inert. This ends up actually being a good thing though, as Frieza arrives soon after in search of the Dragon Balls stolen from him, or at least some of his men, seeing as for one reason or another, they're not responding. Then he sees the 7 wish orbs on the ground turn to stone, as well as the fact that the planet's darkness has once again faded and the suns are yet again visible. This infuriates him. Not only has he been denied his wish, but all of his men are dead, most of his ships destroyed, and this was an utter waste of time. Although if one good thing comes out of this, it's the fact he finally gets to put down that monkey prince once and for all. With his rage surging like never before, the Emperor declares that no dragon in existence will be able to bring them back.